I am finally losing my Stephen King virginity.
Hey, listen!
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shaq and today I'm going to be going through all the books I want to read in March. So my reading actually has been quite good this month in February when I'm filming this, so I've kind of been a little bit ambitious with the books that I would like to read for March, because I am taking part in my very first readathon in about a year actually, which is freaking crazy because I used to do readathons like almost every single month. I decided in March I will be participating in the Tis the Damn Readathon, and it is basically like a Taylor Swift orientated readathon where we are reading based on each of her albums in her discography. There are like 3 prompts for each of them I think, and you can pick whichever ones that you want. Some of them are based upon the actual album itself, and some of them are like of select songs and themes throughout the album. The aim of the readathon is to read as many books as you can to get bingo, and this is like what the bingo square looks like. It's like kind of like a bingo triangle more like. This is what it looks like. I am aiming for a full house, and these are the books I aim to do that with. So our first prompt comes from Taylor Swift's self-titled first album, which is Taylor Swift. The prompt I have picked to fulfill the self-titled prompt is to read a memoir. These first 2 books are actually part of like a secret TBR, so I won't be going into them too much, but the memoir I have decided to pick for the Tis the Damn Readathon is The Diva Rules by Michelle Visage. Now, if you don't know who Michelle Visage is, she is currently a judge on every single drag race you can imagine. She was also in a girl band, I think, and she's kind of famous for a myriad of reasons. She was also on Strictly Come Dancing, and she has a very established career, and she's like one of my biggest inspirations, honestly. She can come across as quite mean and quite cold, but she knows how to stand up for herself, and I really would like to learn how to do that in the next year. So I decided to read this for reasons other than that as well. I will go into that actually in a vlog that is going up next week, so be sure to watch that to see my thoughts on this book and also the one I'm about to talk about in the next prompt as well. The next album we're going to read for is Fearless, and this prompt is to read a book that intimidates me. Again, this is also for the same video that the memoir by Michelle Visage is in, but I decided to pick up Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I am finally losing my Stephen King virginity, but I just feel particularly intimidated by him because I know that he's such a talented author, and I probably will be shunned from the reading community if I don't enjoy his books. The intimidation doesn't necessarily come from him, it comes from the size of his books, because although this is one on a shorter site, it's like 400 pages, some of them are like 1,000 pages long. I'm looking at you. It's not him himself, it's more like the content that he writes about and the length of his novels, and also the fandom that and like the fan culture that surrounds him and his work, and how everyone kind of like idolizes him. Oh, I love him as well. I think that puts just pressure on me, and that's what intimidates me, not necessarily him and his writing like themselves. Next we do have the prompt for Speak Now, which is to read an audiobook or read via audiobook. For this prompt I have decided to go ahead and go with Chain of Gold by Cassandra, Clare, which is the first book in the Last Hours series. I have actually already read this, but Chain of Iron, which will come into play a little bit later in the video, actually comes out in March, so I wanted to reread this as I read the rest of the Infernal Devices as well, which is a series that kind of comes before this and sets it up. But yeah, I'll be reading this by listening to the audiobook, just because last time I did that and I was in a massive slump when I read this, and I thought it was such a great experience just to read along with the audiobook, and I know that it's on script. How much longer it will be available in my country? It's your guess. I can't really say a lot about this series because it spoils a lot of the Infernal Devices, but basically we are following the families of the Infernal Devices and kind of like what happens before the Clockwork Princess prologue, like the time in which Cassandra Clare like skips over, where each of the main characters from the Infernal Devices, so Will, Tessa, Jem, and their like families and how they cope within like a disease in demons coming out. And it's actually quite close to home because they're all in lockdown, there's quarantines. It's a whole mess. Obviously there is more to the story than that, and there's so much action, so much character development, so if you like action but if you also like character development, that will be, you know, there's something for everyone in this book. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed Chain of Gold last year, and I'm sure like rereading it by the audiobook will be no different. Next we do have the prompt for Red, and that is to read a book with red on the cover. The book I have picked to read in order to fulfill this bingo square from Triangle thing is Supernova by Marissa Meyer. I reread Renegades in January, I read Arch Enemies in February, and I'm going to keep on that trajectory and I'm going to read Supernova finally in March, hopefully. It's a huge book, and I haven't heard the best things about this conclusion to the Renegade trilogy, but it does have it on the cover anyway, and I would like to read it. And I'm absolutely obsessed with Marissa's Maya being in silver. So basically follow two superhero groups in this mainly. We follow the renegades, who are kind of like a superhero police force, and then we also follow the anarchists as well. And all the anarchists have one thing in common: they all hate the renegades and they wish to bring them down. No one hates the renegades quite like Nova though, and so she is proposed a task to go ahead and take down the renegades from the inside out and be a spy for the anarchists. But things don't really go to Nova's plan. Initially, she kind of like gets mixed up in her own beliefs, what she truly believes, and if the renegades are truly what the anarchists believe them to be. I absolutely love this trilogy, I really do. Although it isn't the most like fleshed out trilogy or best written I've ever read or anything, the characters really do make it come to life, and I actually do like how morally grey it is and how the binary opposition of good versus evil is like redone and remixed, and I absolutely love this. It's a great addition to the superhero world, and I cannot wait to read the third and final installment in March. The next prompt is for 1989, and this prompt is to read a book with a number in the title. For this prompt, I've decided to go ahead and read Saga Volume 2. It still counts because it's in the title. This also has one on the cover, so if I don't get around to Supernova, then I have this volume to fall back on just in case it doesn't go through, because Supernova is a thick boy. This graphic novel series is by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, and basically is a Romeo and Juliet retelling in space. This is the second volume, so no spoilers, why did I say it like that? But this basically follows Elena and Marco, who are running away from everyone and anyone in space who are trying to kill their love child, as they come from different sides of a space war, a rivalry, and it is the best. I love the series so much. It is a little bit raunchy in places, so if you're like sensitive to nudity or sex or anything like that, or don't like seeing it on the page, or just are uncomfortable with that, then I probably would advise other graphic novel series. This is really good if you can stomach that, and it has some really good themes like having a baby and obviously being in space. It's like sci-fi drama, and it makes it so relatable, and although they're like literally aliens in space and you have no idea who they are, they're not humans, you kind of just want to root for them and you kind of understand what they're going through because their struggles are so human. I think that's what I really like about the series. Our next prompt crosses off the bingo square of reputation, and our prompt for this album is to read a book that includes romance in a different genre. Obviously, I think you know where I'm going with this. I'm going to be reading Chain of Iron, which is the second book in the Last Hours series. If I successfully read Chain of Gold, obviously I can go on to read this, which I don't think I'll struggle with reading Chain of Gold in March, because I'll be reading it by audiobook. But as long as that happens, I can read Chain of Iron, which is the second book in the same series. I am so excited for this. So this is a Shadowhunter series. It's about angelic beings fighting demons. Obviously that comes from its fantasy, like urban fantasy genres, but it also has some romance in there, and a lot of the cast of characters are like banging and stuff, and it gets quite complicated with the amount of like connections and stuff that are within the characters, so I definitely feel like this one fits with the reputation prompt. Next we have Lover, which is to read a 5-star prediction. For this I have decided to go ahead and pick up Pillow Thoughts Volume 4, Stitching the Soul by Courtney Peppernell. As you can probably see, actually you can't, can you see? No, you can't. I have the entire Pillow Thoughts collection, and this is the only one I haven't read. I gave the rest of them, I'm pretty sure, a 5 out of 5 stars, and I don't think this one is going to be any different. This one is all about healing and growth, and that's what I need to read about right now. Just thought I'd put it on this TBR because I'm going to get it through really quickly, and it is a 5-star prediction for me because I love Courtney Peppernell's writing, and this just feels like everything I need and more right now. Next we do have Folklore, and this prompt I decided to specifically pick the prompt for Exile, and that is to read a book by 2 or more authors. I think you know where I'm going with this. That's right, I have picked the next installment of Saga, which is Volume 3 by, of course, Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is just another short one to get on my TBR because I do have a lot of chunky books on this TBR, and I want to get to them as quickly as possible, so I just thought putting a few shorter reads on here would make that possible. This one is on that list because it is by 2 authors, and that is the prompt, so win-win. And our final prompt for the Tears Are Down Readathon at TBR is Forevermore. This prompt is to surprise yourself with a book. I was going to do this blindfolded, but I have already uploaded a video where I'm blindfolded for the majority of it, which is my Overwatch book tag. So if you want to go and see that, I will link it up above and down below in the description box. But for now, we're going to do this with a random number generator. So essentially how it's going to work is I'm going to allocate a number to each of my shelves. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 shelves. On average on each shelf are about 20 books. So then after I've got the shelf number, I will then generate a random number between 1 and 20 to determine which book I'm going to pick. Even if there are like under or over 20 books, it will still count because I can just like go back and continue counting. It will make sense once I have actually done it. Okay, so as you can see on my phone, which is here, I do have a random number generator up. It's called random.org, just in case you were wondering. So minimum is 1, maximum is 12, just for each of my shelves. And we will generate right now 9. Okay. that's fine. I got 9. For each shelf, we're going to go 1 to 20. So this is shelf 9, and then the books along is 7. So we got 9 and 7. Okay, so here are my shelves. As you can see, they're kind of a mess. I have taken off all of the books I know I'm already reading, so they're not on the shelves just in case like I get confused. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's my graphic novel shelf. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's actually volume 9 of Saga. I kind of can't read that because I haven't finished my read of the rest of the Saga volumes, as you can already tell. I have other, you know, my Saga volumes in this like TBR anyway. So I think I'm gonna go for the next one along, which is a reread of Paper Girls Volume 1. I really would have liked to read this at some point. I just didn't expect it to be so soon. I actually had this on my list when I finished Saga, so getting a head start on that is gonna be really good. Wow, I'm really happy about this actually. This is about our main cast of characters who are on like a paper round at Halloween, and they are trying to just go about their business, but they keep running into like supernatural beings while on their paper run. They are like 12, I think, and that's the problem I have because this girl is smoking and they're out like really late at night into the early morning, so I was kind of like confused. But I'm really excited to read this, as I wanted to anyway, because I want to go on to the rest of the series and see if it's like a graphic novel series that could be one of my faves. This couldn't have gone better, honestly. Well, there you have it. There is my finished Tears Are Down Readathon at TBR. I really hope that you are also participating. I would love to see your TBRs or just March TBRs in general. Put them down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give a massive thumbs up and consider subscribing. I will be back next week. Actually, I'll be back tomorrow for a special announcement, which you can feast your eyes upon because it's International Women's Day tomorrow and there's only one thing that can happen. I don't think anyone was expecting it actually, but you better do because it'll be out tomorrow. I will be back next week for my special secret TBR reading vlog with Pet Cemetery and Michelle Visage's book. But for now, you can enjoy the announcement that's coming tomorrow and then that next week. I really hope that you enjoy any reading that you managed to get done, any productivity that you managed to do, and I will see you tomorrow next week. Goodbye!